for those of you who don't know, you actually play the monster as you go through a kind of Metroidvania type map. What I like about the game, first off, more than anything, is just the way it starts. It doesn't give you any tutorials. If it does, it gives you very light ones. Because it's almost like you're trying to discover what you are and how you move and everything from the get-go. And I love that. Looking at other people's reviews of this game, they don't really sort of pick up on that, but you're kind of like, it's like, how do I move? What do I do? Where do I go? What's possible? That's kind of what this game allows you to do, and that's really, really cool. Got amazing pixel art. I love the look of this game. It feels like Aliens, you know, and like I said, you can launch things. Give me those legs. Nom, 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 nom. And it just looks gruesome and gross when it's all done in pixel art, and I think that's really, really, it just looks really impressive. But then look, when the monster opens its mouth and it's chomping on stuff, yeah, really, really cool, really cool. Hit people with the door, the ragdoll effects. I just love the choice of how it all comes together. I think it looks really, really good, and it's just so refreshing to play as I munch these people into nothingness and rob them of their limbs. It's just so refreshing to play as anything else but just a dude or a woman. The more you eat and consume, the bigger you become. And as you go into the game, the monster grows and expands and becomes larger, which obviously makes you more powerful and gives you access to more moves, and that's kind of the gimmick, is that some of the, you know, when you play Castlevania or Metroid, you have your power-ups, and as long as you've got ammo and stuff, you can use them forever. In this, it's your mass, so the more you eat, the bigger you grow, and you can have you get more powers and things. But just because you're massive and you almost fill the screen, you can also just as easily get shot because there's so much of you, and you have to be reduced to your smallest size and then killed before you die. So when you go up against robots with guns and things that are shooting at you, that kind of sometimes it's a detriment, you being as big as you are. So you might want to reduce in size before you actually try and tackle some of the more stealthy type sections, because you are not invincible. Do you jump? No, you kind of sort of point. As I'm moving I don't know if you can see on there, as I basically press the direction I want to go in, the monster just goes in that direction, and so long as there's somewhere where a tentacle can grab hold of, you will go in that direction, so you don't jump. The story and the ending. Now, I won't give it too many sort of spoilers if that's what you're interested with this game. But the story tries, now this is my opinion, some people might disagree, the story tries to be ambiguous on purpose, and I think when it does that completely, does it pretty well, but it never really completely, it never really goes deep enough to let you latch on to enough to sort of keep it interesting. How do I explain this without spoiling the story completely? There's story elements in it, and it hints towards stuff, but it only hints because it's almost like the writers aren't too sure what to do with it themselves. So there isn't enough for you to latch onto to go, oh, that's kind of interesting. You kind of wish there was enough for you to speculate about what is going on, and there's very little. And especially in the ending, where the ending happens, and again it's kind of like, oh, look how ambiguous we are. Now, how scary is that as an ending? And you're kind of like, well, yeah, but I wish you would have maybe hinted a little bit more, or committed yourself more to what you're potentially hinting towards. And in that case, it kind of lands flat. There's no kind of resolution of what's going on or how, and I know that's kind of what they wanted to, because they obviously knew they had something with this game and they wanted to do a sequel. But I would prefer, for a brand new IP, brand new franchise, for them to commit to some sort of ending or some sort of resolution in case you don't come back to the sequel, rather than just assume that you will. I'm going to grab this person with a store. Munch. Munch. But when you've got a premise as cool as this, where you are basically an alien, the Thing, from the movie The Thing, the story isn't the fun part. Let's face it. The fun part is what you're seeing here. This guy's got a gun. He shot me, and now he's dead because I gave him a chance. I was trying to be nice, and now I'm going to crush him with that, and then eat his corpse. If I was playing as a person, I'd have to jump on this, jump on that, and then go up there. But because I'm a thing, I just point in that direction. You go straight up there. So it makes you think different, you know. If I was in water, there's always some sort of swimming mechanic to sort of get me out of the water to here, and it would feel different in water than what it would outside. Again, because I'm a creature, none of it feels different. What feels different to me is what comes naturally as a human. Doors, windows, you know, trying to grab stuff and latch onto things. This kind of basic wooden door is the biggest problem to me. You're solving puzzles. It kind of almost makes more sense that the puzzles are there, because you can't just reach out and press, you know, open a door handle, or you don't have key cards to open doors for security. And it's not just a case of killing the guard with the key card to open the door like you do in things like Doom and Metroid. In this, you've got to find more inventive ways around it, like build your abilities up to navigate through these vents that weren't supposed to be traversed by man and things. And I love that. I think that's such a cool idea. So the premise of you being the alien that's escaped, when so many games like this, you are the human trying to stop the alien, is immense, and that clearly is the selling point. The biggest complaint I see on other people's reviews for this game is this: there's no map. Now I say to those people who said there's no map, would a monster who looks and moves like this have a map? You could argue, well, they'd build a mental map, Bill. They'd have, you know, use this sort of thing, and as they go around, they'd plot it all and work it out. You could have just fitted a map in there for, you know, for ease of use and stuff like that. To you, dear viewer, I say nay. You are a monster. I like the way that you're, you know, you don't know where you are, or you don't think like a human who needs a map to navigate stuff and to move around places. So I don't think that's the problem. I don't think the problem of not having a map is the issue. The problem is the level design. Now, when the level design is good, like what a lot of the beginning of this game is, it is very good. The level design suffers as a whole because you're backtracking through a lot of areas, and they have this thing where you press a button, you get like an idea of where you got to go. So if I press this button here, you kind of see where those kind of jugglery bits to tell you in the general direction of where you want to go. And the reason people have said I think this game needed a map is because the level design doesn't guide them through and doesn't hint enough of where they've got to go. And that's the difference. When you come across a problem in Metroid, you know, like a level that's too high for you to jump, you can symbolise that very easily by you know, having loads of jumping sections, and then you get to a room and you jump and go, I definitely can't reach that. Then you go back and you find a double jump where you can jump twice as high, and you remember that area and you go, oh, I remember. You can't do that with Carrion because you're a creature. You don't know what you can do, and you don't know what's possible. So it's very difficult to try and use the normal Metroid tropes to suggest to the player this is where you've got to go back to. And it can, you know, they sometimes get it right, but I think they needed to do something else with the level design to make the player have more of a kind of that's where I've got to go moment. And I didn't have that too much with this. The levels from time to time needed a little bit more tweaking or something else to make them more fun to navigate. This was a great hit last year, and I really enjoyed the concept of being an alien killer, and they make use of the concept really well for the problem solving and combat. The only thing that lets it down is a lack of map, and sometimes the level design makes you loop and doesn't allow for easy shortcuts at points. Brilliantly summed up. Well done, Vigrous. Totally agree with you. So, the hits are beautiful pixel art. This game looks immense. It looks really, really good. The graphics are really good throughout, and I love their choice of that. They could have gone all pixels. They could have gone all polygons, and they could have gone like 3D realistic graphics. But when you've got aspects of this game where they really utilise all the pixels and it just looks great when it moves, it fits the monster really well. So gorgeous pixel art. It's an inventive premise. You're playing as the monster. Normally you'd go around and shoot these kind of monsters. In this, you are the monster. So you traverse the world differently. What would normally be a problem in these kind of games is actually really straightforward for you to overcome. What is more difficult are the things you normally find easy, like doors and things of that nature. Going on to the misses, for me the story and the ending was ambiguous, and I get what they were going for, but I do feel they missed it. I don't think there was enough in there for you to theorise too much besides what is kind of ultimately suggested, and I wanted a bit more lore in there to make me go, what is it? Where's it from? What's it doing? Why am I here? What is it going to go on to do next? And the ending, again, although ambiguous and I respect what they were going for, doesn't give me enough for a first game in the series. So, yeah, the story kind of missed for me. Level design, the reason people want a map in this game is I feel the level design is not strong enough to make you feel that you don't need a map. There are elements where you're a creature, so you're not supposed to feel like you know where you're going. You're investigating your environment. You don't know where you are or how you traverse it. And the area wasn't built for you. The air vents are the only main way around it, and all the areas where the humans can't go is what you utilise. So it's supposed to feel that way. And I feel like giving you a map, it would have probably made the length even more of an issue that I'm potentially hinting towards. What they needed to focus on was a way of you hinting of where you got to go next, and the cry to sort of yell out and say what's around you works to a certain extent, but the level design sometimes is so samey and everything looks very similar, it's difficult to sort of go, yeah, that's where I need to go next. And that is that Metroidvania adrenaline hit where you actually go, that eureka moment. It's missing that for its level design. And finally, the replay value. It does have DLC now, but that DLC is more like a rearrange mode from what I can understand. I haven't played it myself, I have to be honest with you, but it's a rearrange mode of what's already there. So you'll still see a lot of the same places, a lot of the same areas, a lot of the same enemies. It's just a different way of going about playing it. Didn't make me want to come back and play it. There wasn't that area of making me feel, yeah, I need to play this game again. It was kind of like, when it was done, but I loved it when I played it. But you will get stuck, so be prepared for that.